All right, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, what am I allowed to edit as the user? Remember, one of the things here is that it needs to be clear what is inputs and outputs. So am I able to adjust this? Am I supposed to be able to adjust something else? What am I allowed to edit as the user, right? Taking a look, drag this down just a little bit. Taking a look at some of these. So I love that you have all of your assumptions down here, but we might want to go ahead and you see how you kind of broke it down as to, all right, it costs $6.89 per pound. I use so-and-so cups for each one. This is what the total cost per log would be. You would want to break that down for your user, right? So we can say, okay, well, the price of pistachios went up to $8 per pound. So I want to be able to change that $8. I'm telling you how many cups are being used. Oh, it's going to go up to 0.3 cups, so on and so forth. We want the user to be able to edit those items automatically and have it calculate this. Let's see, chef. So it looks like we're assuming that we have the same chef, except one gets paid a little bit more. Maybe. Yeah? 15 minutes per unit. They get paid 30 an hour. This chef is 10 minutes per unit. 29 an hour. Let's see what you did here. D19. 15 minutes times 20,000. That'll tell you how many minutes. Converted that into hours times 30 an hour. So these are your total direct labor costs. Good. And then that, you just did it as a total to begin with. Factory overhead, we said our total factory overhead was 91,000, except we are seeing the same factory overhead for both. So remember, when we have factory overhead, the whole point of what we were doing back through the whole of this course is we're deciding how much of that 91,000 should go to baklava, how much should go to the Galax, right? So we need to separate that 91,000 out, right? It could be based on direct labor hours, which you kind of got a good start with here. Let me go ahead and take this up here. So I know that that one's going to use 5,000 hours. Let's see how many hours this one uses. Oop, give me a second. Good, so I know total hours, so I could go ahead and say, okay, for the 91,000, we're going to divide that amongst the total hours. And we're going to allocate it just to the baklava, so they'll get 54,600. And they'll get, oop, give me a second. There we go. And they'll get the remaining 36.4. But the moral of the story is we find our total factory overhead and we figure out how much of that goes to each. Okay. Also, what time period is this supposed to be for? $80,000 in rent. Is this annual? And then also, if we have, why do we have equipment and depreciation? So usually our equipment is what we pay for it, and our depreciation is us depreciating the equipment. So it almost looks like this here is double counted. Okay, yeah. And then that, yep. Okay. So a few things that you're going to want to try to take another look at just to make sure you have a really good understanding. I love this, how it's written out. I can see that you guys put a lot of detail in it, but there are some very big fundamentals here that are missing, particularly things like inputs and properly allocating our factory overhead, double counting our equipment, things like that. But keep up the hard work. Nice job.